Hey everyone, welcome back to Eureka. You tuned in to another episode of our IELTS Discussion Series.
I'm Alex.
And I'm Jenny. Today, we're exploring a popular topic that often shows up in IELTS speaking and writing. Should all students learn a second language?
It's a hot topic, especially in today's globalized world. And it's highly relevant to IELTS candidates, since many of you are studying English as your second or even third language.
Exactly. So let's break it down. First question, why do people learn second languages?
There are so many reasons: communication, travel, job opportunities. For example, English is often called the global language of business.
Yes, and learning another language also opens the door to understanding another culture, not just words, but ways of thinking.
Great point. And there's even research showing that bilingual people have better memory and problem-solving skills. Not to mention, learning a language can improve your understanding of your first language, too.
Let's ask our listeners some warm-up questions. Are you learning English as your second language? What do you find most challenging about it? Do you think knowing English has given you more opportunities? Pause the podcast and share your thoughts, or discuss with a friend.
Now let's address the big question. Should it be mandatory for all students to learn a second language?
That's tricky. On one hand, I'd say yes. It helps students connect with the wider world and improves brain development.
But on the other hand, not every student has the same interest or ability. For some, learning another language can be very stressful or even demotivating.
Especially if the language feels unrelated to their lives. Like imagine a student in a small village who never travels. Would they really use German or French? Maybe not immediately. But even so, learning another language might still train the brain in new ways, just like learning music or math.
Do you remember your first experience learning a foreign language?
Oh, yes. French. I was 11, and all I remember is learning how to say, Je m'appelle Jenny, and singing songs about baguettes.
That's a classic. For me, it was Spanish in secondary school. I struggled at first, but later loved using it while traveling in Spain.
That's a great point. Real-life use. When students can use the language outside the classroom, it becomes much more meaningful. Let's talk about how learning a language builds empathy and global awareness.
Yes. When you speak another language, you can see the world through different eyes. You learn about cultural values, social norms, even humor.
That helps reduce prejudice and increases respect for diversity. In today's world, we really need that kind of understanding.
So in that sense, learning a second language isn't just about vocabulary. It's about becoming a more global citizen.
Let's pause again with a few more questions for reflection or classroom discussion. 1. What second language would you choose to learn if you had unlimited time? 2. Do you think schools should teach regional or international languages? Why? These questions are great prompts for IELTS Speaking Part 3 or Writing Task 2.
Now let's talk about technology. Apps like Duolingo, Memrise, or ChatGPT are changing how people learn.
Right. Students today can practice speaking, listen to podcasts, or even chat with AI in their target language.
That's a huge advantage. It makes language learning more flexible and fun.
But it doesn't replace real interaction. I still believe having conversations with real people is the best way to build fluency.
Do you think schools are doing enough to support second language learning?
It depends on the country. In some places, like the Netherlands or Singapore, bilingual education is very strong. But in others, language classes are limited or poorly taught.
True. And some students lose motivation because the lessons are too grammar heavy or not practical enough.
That's why task-based learning, speaking games, and cultural exchange programs are so important. They make the language real.
And for IELTS students, practicing speaking regularly is key. Even 10 minutes a day makes a difference.
So, should all students learn a second language?
We say yes, if possible. It helps with brain development, cultural awareness, and global opportunities.
But it should be taught in a way that's engaging, personalized, and meaningful, not just memorizing rules.
Well said. So here's our final question for today. What is one thing your language teacher did that helped you learn better?
Reflect on that, use it to improve your own learning journey, and maybe pass it on to someone else.